What can we expect at a typical dermatological appointment? We are going to have you guys get into a gown so we could take a look. Most of us do have a medical assistant in the room. And so it won't just be you alone with the doctor. There will be a third person in there that's taking notes and serving as a chaperone as well.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Skin Goals, where we deep dive on the world of skincare. I'm your host, Lisa Avalos.
Hey, everyone. And I'm Kelly Sitler. And we're here to help you achieve your ultimate skin goals. And today we have a special guest with us, Dr. Naeha Gupta, who is a board certified dermatologist and L'Oreal dermatological beauty consultant today, who is here to help us answer your burning questions about how to prepare for a dermatologist appointment. So welcome to Skin Goals, Dr. Gupta.
Thank you both for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So fun fact, as we dive into getting ready for a dermatologist appointment, today I was actually supposed to have my skin check, my yearly skin check that I've been having consistently for the last few years. I was definitely a tanner when I was growing up during those prom years and all that. So I scheduled it for today. Because I knew we were recording today, I actually had to call my derm and be like, hey, can we reschedule this for, I'm actually going to head back in April. So I'm really excited to learn about how to actually prepare for a dermatologist appointment. Because I'm like, what I've been doing, am I doing it right? Like, are there other things I should be doing when I'm going in to see my derm, or especially for a skin check? So I'm so curious today, and I'm so excited to jump into it. Lisa, are you like equally excited about this topic?
Very excited. Funny fact, I've never been to a dermatologist and I totally need to go. So this is a great episode for me to learn how to do it, what a dermatologist does. It's funny to say because I work here. We talk about dermatologists a lot. And I feel like they're my friends, but I've never actually gone to one. So I'm happy to go through all the steps on someone that's new to going to the dermatologist, especially as I turned 40 a couple of months ago. I feel like it's time to really, get down and serious with my skincare, especially some of these spots that I see popping up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's probably a lot of listeners out there who haven't been to a dermatologist and maybe they are preparing for the first time. So just like you, Lisa, and for me, I really didn't even start going to a dermatologist until I started working for these brands. So I'm like fully understanding everything that you were just sharing with us. So let's get into it a little bit. Let's dive right in. And Dr. Gupta, we know that you practice in Philadelphia area, and you're more of a medical dermatologist. So I was just to understand a little bit about you diving in first. Like, can you tell us a little bit about the scope of your practice?
Absolutely. I've been practicing in Center City, Philly for just under 5 years now. I am, just like you mentioned, a medical dermatologist. I focus on primarily adult patients as well. And so really, my bread and butter is a lot of skin checks, acne, warts, and rashes. And that is like the things I do day to day.
That makes so much sense. So, um, what does a person, let's say like me, I haven't been to a dermatologist yet. So, once you choose a dermatologist, what information should I bring with me or gather before I go see you?
Absolutely. I think before we ever go see any doctor, it's really important to know medications, doses, our current medical conditions, because obviously we want to know that. And then dermatology specific, if you've ever had a skin check, we want to know, have you had biopsies? What were those results? Do we have a family history of skin cancer, family history of other cancers? And I think the biggest thing for us to know is if it is your first time or if you're a frequent comer.
You're jarring my memory now, Dr. Gupta, of when I changed dermatologists because I moved from New York City um, to Newtown, Pennsylvania, and I had to change derms when I did that. And I definitely was one of those people who had like, and I'm probably not even saying this right, but like I had things removed to check to see if they were, if they were cancerous or anything like that. And thankfully they came back, they were all cleared through the lab. But like I had to get my records when I changed to my new dermatologist when I moved. So it's definitely like that's another thing that I remember the whole process of like preparing and making sure that like, all right, I got to get this, going. Cause like when we're looking at, like when me and my dermatologist were looking at my skin, we're like, oh yeah, like what was that? What happened there? And I'm like, oh, that was when I was at my other derm. So yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me too. Like, I didn't per se go to a dermatologist, but when I started my breakout journey, which I'll talk about in another episode, I was still seeing my pediatrician because I was in college. So, they helped me out a lot with that. But I would probably bring that information to you as my new dermatologist of what me and my pediatrician probably had me on medication or anything that I was on for my skin.
Yeah, absolutely. Regardless if they were a derm or, like you said, pediatrician, we want to know what you've tried because we don't want to repeat anything that may not have worked for you. So, absolutely, both of you make great points there.
Yeah. And well, and even when we're talking about like, the past, like besides like biopsies, like Lisa's bringing up, like, acne, like, you know, how do we bring it up to do we want to talk about it when we're in the dermatologist appointment? Like we obviously want to prepare for it and have that, but like what do we need to bring up when we're talking about those past items?
I think the first thing is to kind of have your priority of like, why are you coming in? Is it the skin check? Is acne? What's like your big mission for that visit? Because depending on the complexity of your skin check, which I also call skin cancer screenings, or the complexity of your acne, we may not be able to do it all in one visit, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes things do need an in-depth discussion. And so I think it's really important to kind of know like what your big priorities for that day and what may be okay waiting for a subsequent visit, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, should patients prepare like questions for their derm before or like a list of concerns?
Yeah, I think that that's actually a really great thing. I think one of my favorite things when patients do is when they come for their skin cancer screening, if they're worried about specific spots and just want to make sure we hit them, they either write them down or they circle them. And I'm here for both of them because it's your time. And even though something may look totally fine to me, it's obviously your right to know what it is and why I think it's okay. And other than that, absolutely, if you have other questions, other concerns, having them written down helps because sometimes we forget when we're in the room and then you make the most of your time.
Hmm.
Yeah. I definitely agree with like writing things down. I know me who I have like an ADHD mind who can go in like a million directions. Like if I don't write something down, like I will likely move in a different direction so I love that idea. And even as we're going through this, I'm actually writing things down, guys. It helps me to remember, to get to the next point basically. And along those lines, right? What you were just mentioning, Dr. Gupta, that like, there's different types of appointments, right? So like there is a skin cancer screening, there's all different types. But what can we expect at a typical dermatological appointment?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is when you come in, we'll probably be there for about 10 to 15 minutes, depending on the scope of the visit, because we are looking at skin. We are going to have you guys get into a gown so we can take a look. I
Yeah.
think the other thing in terms of expectations is most of us do have a medical assistant in the room. And so it won't just be you alone with the doctor. There will be a third person in there that's taking notes and serving as a chaperone as well.
Yeah.
That's great. So, how can a patient make the most of their time with their dermatologist?
I think the best things, seriously, you can do is first arrive, depending on your concern, with no makeup or nail polish, because that is how we're really going to be able to take a look at everything. Because if you do come in with makeup and we're looking at acne, it can be a little bit more difficult to examine to see how your skin's actually doing. Other than that, I do like we talked about, like having the list of items as well, and just kind of making sure that you are getting all of your questions answered.
I didn't even think about nail polish. Hello. Yeah, that makes so much sense. I mean, maybe a makeup remover wipe, would help, but nail polish is so difficult to take off. So,
Yeah. It's so true, Lisa. Same thing. Like I've definitely gone to a skin check appointment with probably my toes done. like nail polish, like especially if it's during the summertime. Like, so it's something that I didn't even consider, honestly, removing my nail polish before I go to that appointment. So I'm going to do that in April. I'm going to be very cognizant now, and I'm going to make sure even if I'm gonna schedule my mani pedis around this, maybe actually.
Yeah. Get the most out of that appointment.
Yeah. Do hair, skin, and nails. So you're there. Let us look at everything.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because a lot of times things can be caught in areas like that's the whole thing, right? Is like doing it in a regular and doing it. That's what helps. It's preventative, right? Or you're catching something early on is really best. So that's great. Talking about like there might be some misconceptions, like even for those of us who've gone to a dermatologist, often or like what are some of the things that maybe people now I don't want to say like get wrong at a dermatologist appointment, but like maybe that like can you help us out? Like anything that we should be paying attention to or doing differently?
Yeah, I think unfortunately the biggest misconception is that skin cancer screening, skin checks are considered preventative by insurance and that they'll be free. Like primary care, GYN, and unfortunately, while I wish that they were included in our annual visits, they're not. And I have to say, I think across the board, that is like the biggest misconception I see.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's very understandable, which I mean, hopefully that changes in the future. But, it's important to get those screenings done. Talking about your primary care physician, should should I book through my primary care physician to see the dermatologist? How does that go?
It will be kind of dependent on your insurance and also your access because depending on where you live, the wait to get into a derm can be 6 months to a year. And at that point, we don't want you delaying your hair. We really trust our primary care colleagues. And so if you're going there first and letting them start treatment, that's perfectly acceptable and wanted. However, the other thing too is if you have access to a derm and you're able to see them sooner, absolutely do it. I personally work in a multidisciplinary clinic with a lot of primary cares. And so those patients have immediate access that if they even need to be seen same day, they can't because I'm literally working in the same building, in the same office with them.
It's really helpful. Just hearing your insights, Dr. Gupta. Another like avenue to go down is like, what are some of the top concerns that people come to see you for?
For sure. So I do a lot of skin checks. Acne is a big one, a lot of rashes and warts for sure.
I'm literally writing all those three down, and I'm like, I can unfortunately relate to all three of those. The worst part was oh, yeah, that has happened when I was younger. I remember. So going to the derm for that.
And you mentioned something earlier about head to toe. So could I go to my dermatologist if I was having like scalp issues or like anything like that?
Yeah, of course, for sure. Scalp issues, uh, foot fungus. I mean, head to toe, literally. That is what we do. So absolutely, we're there to do everything.
Any more tips for us before we go on my first? Kelly's a pro at growing to the derm. For anyone that's new, trying to set up their first dermatologist appointment.
I think my biggest thing is to not be nervous. It breaks my heart when patients come in and they're nervous or they're apologizing to me for not shaving their legs or doing something like that. And we just don't care. And so please don't be nervous. Don't get in your head. If you're worried about something, just go see us and we'll be more than happy to help you.
That's amazing advice, truly. Like, it allows you to feel so comfortable to, go and make your appointment and go to that appointment and talk about your concerns. Like it's so important to be as open as you possibly can and not be nervous and not judge yourself if you haven't like made a skin check for yourself in many years or something like that. So
Yeah. And at La Roche Posay, we have a skin check SOS days. They do skin checks throughout the summers. And it's a great also place to go on larocheposay.com to see when SOS days are happening in May and June. But it's a great to get those spots checked. I have one on my arm that I need to get checked just from many years of being out in the sun, the beach.
It absolutely is. Yeah. Lisa, along those lines, like, as we're coming to the end of the episode, like, is there any key takeaways that you're really taking from this? Like, I'm writing down a whole bunch actually, but
Yeah. I think it's like the ease of it. I just need to make the appointment. And I really like that tip of not wearing makeup or nail polish because I want to get the most out of that appointment when I'm there. And getting those real key skin concerns for me, it's like, you know, gracefully aging, a little bit of acne here and there. But I've been having actually scalp flakiness that I would love to talk to a derm about.
Yeah, for sure. Make the appointment. That's my biggest piece of advice. Just make the appointment.
I love that, Lisa. Make the appointment. I'm going to stop judging myself for not making appointments or doing things on, the should have, could have, would have, like I feel like that's something I'm really gathering is like, I'm a busy career woman. I'm a busy mom. Like I'm a busy, if I haven't done something for myself, like it's okay. Do it now, like it's okay. Like, and stop don't apologize to my dermatologist for not bringing it up until this moment, because like now I'm ready. Now I'm here and I'm ready to, understand what's going on. So I love that. Like I feel like I want to come to you, Dr. Good, because I feel so open to share those things. So thank you. And I also am definitely gonna make sure I don't have nail polish on when I go to my next skin check appointment. So that's a definite keeper for me from this. Thank you so much. This has been amazing. Lisa, I think that wraps this up, right?
Yeah, so that wraps us up for this episode. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. We'll be back with more skincare advice. Bye, everyone.